My CEO husband dominates the business world. But the moment he steps through our front door, he transforms into a clingy, overly affectionate version of himself. I despise it. I've sternly demanded he change this behavior. Yet he persists in attaching himself to me whenever possible, even while I'm cooking. When I confided in my best friend, Scarlett, she refused to believe me. That is, until the day I finally snapped, and Lance Wilder actually backed off. Later that night, I overheard him complaining to a friend in the bathroom. Do you think my wife doesn't love me anymore? When we were dating, she cuddled me constantly. Now she yells at me daily. I was pushing Lance's handsome face away from my shoulder for the 100th time when I finally lost it. Brandishing my spatula. Mr. Wilder, if you rub against me one more time, this stir-fried tomato and egg will end up on your custom-made suit. I hissed through gritted teeth. Walk sizzling behind me. The 6-foot man behind me nuzzled my hair like an overly affectionate golden retriever. Instead of retreating, Lance tightened his arms around my waist, his warm breath tickling my ear. If my wife's cooking stains my clothes, I'll proudly wear it to the board meeting. He paused, then suddenly nipped my earlobe. Let everyone smell how well loved I am. The spatula clattered onto the stove, whirling around. I seized his tie worth half my annual salary and roared over the range hood's roar. Lance Wilder. This isn't the same man who coldly acquired the tech park last month. On TV that day, Lance had been icy in a 3-piece suit and gold-rimmed glasses. His stare so frigid it made the opposing CEO smash a teacup. Now, Wall Street's so-called kingpin was rubbing his nose against my cheek, his eyelashes brushing my skin. I wasn't holding you then. The doorbell rang, gratefully wrenching free. I peered through the pavilion to see Scarlett Lynn's exaggerated crimson lips. Disaster. Last week, ID complained about Lance's clinginess, and she'd sworn to witness it firsthand. Chloe, darling, Scarlett breezed in on a cloud of d'or, then froze mid-stride. Lance peered over my shoulder, holding the half-sliced cucumber I'd been working on. 3 seconds of silence. My mistake, Scarlett said robotically, turning away. I must have the wrong apartment. I'm looking for Chloe Quinn, the one who claims Mr. Wilder is too clingy. Lance's eyes darkened instantly. I watched his aura shift from affectionate puppy to predatory wolf, his gold-rimmed glasses materializing on his sharp nose. He set the cucumber down deliberately, fingertips drumming the countertop like a threat. Ms. Lynn, has my wife mentioned me often lately? She said you're... Scarlett's gaze darted between my frantic blinking and Lance's dangerous smile. Exceptionally self-sufficient. I nearly strangled my apron strings. Lance chuckled softly, yanking me back against his chest, right in front of Scarlett. He rested his chin atop my head. Indeed, my wife adores saying the opposite of what she means. He dipped his head, whispering hotly in my ear. Who clung to me this morning, begging me not to get up? Scarlett looked like she'd swallowed the entire cucumber. I watched in despair as she whipped out her phone, furiously typing in our fake besties group chat. I didn't need to see it to know the headline. Shock. Ice-cold CEO Lance Wilder secretly a clingy teddy bear. That night, emerging from the shower, I found the bedroom unusually empty. Muffled voices drifted from the balcony. She invited her friend to intervene today, barefoot on the plush rug. I froze. My husband, the man who eviscerated opponents in boardrooms, now sounded like a wounded boy. Third brother. Do you think Chloe's fallen out of love with me? Towel clutched tight. I stared through the glass door. Moonlight silvered Lance's sharp profile as he held a cigarette, its ember glowing faintly. The man financial magazines called the Wall Street sniper murmured into the phone. When we dated, she demanded kisses, cuddles, even piggyback rides daily. My heart squeezed like a marshmallow soaked in lemon juices are yet tender. Before I knew it, ID pushed the door open. Lance instantly stubbed out his cigarette. Hello, Mr. Wilder crackled from the phone before he ended the call. Night Wind lifted his robe, revealing the bite mark ID left on his collarbone that morning. Suddenly, I remembered our first meeting, at a college debate, after Head dismantled his opponent with surgical precision. Head turned to me with a grin like a child seeking praise. That's when I should have realized beneath that unapproachable exterior hid an incredibly clingy soul. Babe. He reached out to hug me, then flinched back as if remembering something, his eyes darting away like a guilty golden retriever. Sighing, I burrowed into his tobacco-scented embrace. I've got a business trip to Hangzhou next week, Ward muttered, his fingers unconsciously twisting a lock of my hair. I tilted my head to study his tense jawline, suddenly understanding. So these past few days, were you preemptively begging for cuddles? Langston's ears turned visibly crimson. He roughly pressed my face against his chest, where I heard his frantic heartbeat. Quinn, laugh one more time and you won't sleep tonight. Later. Lynette bombarded our group chat with 99 messages demanding details. I replied with only, suggest all financial journalists witness this. The business titan you write about is currently hugging my waist saying feed me this strawberry. Babe. Attached was a photo of Ward biting a strawberry from my fingertips, his suited conference room portrait photoshopped into the background. After all, the CEO had an image to maintain though around me. Headlong devoured his dignity like that strawberry. Before Lynette's message storm ended, Ward snatched my phone, bracing one arm against the couch behind me. He scrolled with his other hand, gold-rimmed glasses glinting as his eyes narrowed dangerously. CEO Lang actually knows how to act this spoiled. Quinn, how'd you train him? He read each word aloud, making my scalp prickle. I forced a laugh, grabbing for the phone. Their joking Ward lifted his wrist effortlessly, dodging my attempt before leaning down until his nose nearly touched mine. Quinn, did you forget? His voice dropped. That your husband isn't just clingy, but also holds grudges. A chill shot down my spine. The next second, he hoisted me over his shoulder, marching toward the bedroom. I kicked futilely. Langston, put me down. I work tomorrow. He ignored me, even swatting my backside. Relax. I'll ensure you arrive at the office on time. Next morning, clutching my aching back in the elevator, I glared at the impeccably dressed culprit beside me, crisp suit, flawless tie as if last night's predator wasn't him. The doors opened, and he instantly shifted into ice-cold CEO mode, striding out like we'd never met. Rolling my eyes, I followed, stomping on his shadow for petty revenge. After 2 steps, he halted abruptly. I crashed into his back. Langston. My complaint died as I spotted several executives frozen in the hallway, staring. The air thickened. Without flinching, Ward smoothed my collar, his tone detached. Watch your step. The executives. Me. His acting was flawless as if he hadn't just been tracing circles on my palm in the elevator. I offered a tight smile. Thanks for your concern, CEO Lang. A ghost of a smirk touched his lips before he turned, his posture rigid and aura glacial as he walked toward the conference room. Watching him, I sneered internally. Keep pretending. Mr. CEO. Lunchtime. Company cafeteria. Mid-bite with colleagues. My phone buzzed. Ward. Babe. I want the sweet and sour ribs on your plate. Scanning the room, I spotted him diagonally across the VIP section cutting steak with elegant precision while staring intently at my lunch. Me. Your annual salary could buy this entire restaurant. CEO Lang. Have some dignity, Ward. But I only want yours. Me. Does he have some weird possessive kink? Sighing, I plucked a rib, darted to his table when no one was looking, dropped it onto his plate, and spun to leave. Instantly, his cool fingers closed around my wrist. Feed me, he murmured, thumb stroking my pulse point. I hissed. Are you insane? We're at work. He raised an eyebrow, all feigned innocence. So, gritting my teeth, I whispered, CEO Lang, your public persona is aloof and unapproachable. Not human barnacle. He chuckled softly, releasing my hand before leisurely finishing the rib. He licked the corner of his lips. But I'm only clingy with you. I was speechless. Seriously, how is this man getting smoother by the day? Later that evening at home, I stepped out of the shower to find Liam Warner unusually absent from the bedroom. Light spilled from the study. I pushed the door open to see him in a video conference, facing several foreign executives in sharp suits on his screen. His gaze lifted to me, instantly softening, though his tone remained strictly professional. Continue the report. I tactfully began to retreat, but then heard him speak calmly into the microphone. Meeting paused for 5 minutes. He snapped his laptop shut, strode over, and pulled me tightly into his arms. His chin rested on my shoulder as he took a deep breath. Wife, I'm exhausted. I froze. Weren't you just in a meeting? He grunted affirmatively, tightening his hold. But I wanted to hold you. Amused and exasperated, I reached up to ruffle his hair. Mr. Warner, if shareholders saw you like this, the company stock would plummet. He laughed lowly, warm breath brushing my neck. Let it plummet. I've earned enough to support you for 10 lifetimes anyway. My heart skipped a beat. This man, a titan of finance out in the world, transformed into a giant koala at home, seemingly wanting to cling to me. 247. I sighed, cupping his face. Liam. You're. His eyes darkened. Am I annoying you? I shook my head, a sudden smile breaking through. You're actually kind of cute. He blinked, stunned. Then his gaze intensified, pinning me against the desk. His voice turned husky. Chloe Cheen. You're done for. Later. Olivia Lynn frantically tagged me in the group chat. So just how clingy is Mr. Warner? Rubbing my sore lower back, I typed back through gritted teeth. I suggest you come experience it firsthand. Olivia's reply bombarded my phone within seconds. Chloe Cheen. That is blatant bragging. Followed by a dozen facepalm emojis. Before I could respond, a long-fingered hand reached from behind and plucked my phone away. Liam stood there, freshly showered, droplets clinging to his hair. His robe was loosely tied, revealing a broad expanse of his solid chest. He glanced at the screen, eyebrow arched. Olivia. I reached for the phone. Give it back. He effortlessly held it aloft while his other arm snaked around my waist, pulling me flush against him. Let her be jealous. His warm breath fanned my ear. She'll never get to experience it anyway. His words made me laugh. But just as I opened my mouth to retort, the doorbell rang. Liam frowned, clearly annoyed by the interruption. I seized the chance to slip from his grasp and answer the door. Standing outside was Ryan Joer to the Zoe Group and Liam's business rival, dressed impeccably in a suit. He held a bottle of red wine. Seeing me, he blinked in surprise. Ms. Cheen. He peered past me. Is Mr. Warner in? Before I could answer, an arm settled possessively around my waist. Liam, now looking perfectly composed with his robe neatly fastened, stood impassively behind me. What do you want? Ryan's eyes flickered between us, a knowing smile spreading across his face. Bad timing. He lifted the wine bottle. Came to discuss the East City project. Office. Tomorrow. Liam moved to shut the door. Ryan suddenly braced a hand against it. Hold on. He winked at me. Ms. Cheen. Do you know how ruthless your Mr. Warner is in business? Last month, Ryan. Liam's voice was glacial, feeling suicidal. I felt the arm around my waist tighten. Ryan's grin widened. See. Touchy. He leaned slightly towards me. Ms. Cheen. Hey, race a secret. Liam actually. He didn't finish. Liam yanked me behind him and swung a punch. Ryan dodged nimbly, the wine sloshing dangerously. Shit. Liam. Was that necessary? He pointed at me. I was just going to tell her you wrapped up a $300 million deal in 2 hours flat last month because you were desperate to get home to your wife. Silence crashed down. I stood frozen, slowly turning to stare at Liam. The king of Wall Street's ears were visibly reddening, though his expression remained stoic. Finished. Get out. Ryan laughed, shoving the wine bottle into my hands. A gift. As he left, he called back cheekily. Nothing shameful about being a wife guy. Mr. Warner. The door clicked shut. Liam immediately pressed me against the foyer wall, his voice a low growl. Don't you dare laugh. My shoulders shook with suppressed mirth. I'm not laughing. You're smiling with your eyes. He lowered his head to bite my neck. That project was never worth discussing anyway. I reached up to rub his burning ear. So, President Lang sacrificed $300 million just to come home and hold his wife. Lang Hui paused mid-motion, then suddenly swept me off my feet, carrying me toward the bedroom. Now I'm collecting my dues with interest. The next morning, I arrived at the office an hour later than usual. Stepping into the elevator, I overheard female colleagues gossiping. Heard President Lang punched the Zhou family's young master yesterday. Seriously? Why? Apparently young Master Zhou said something about President Lang's wife. I shrunk into the corner, pretending not to hear. The doors opened, and I hurried out only to collide with Director Li from HR. Director Qin. She grabbed my arm conspiratorially. I heard President Lang confronted the Zhou group yesterday because of you, Director Li. I interrupted smoothly, smiling. Isn't the quarterly report due today? Her expression shifted instantly. Right. I'll get on it. Relieved, I headed toward my office. Secretary Lin rushed over breathlessly. Director Qin. President Lang wants you in his office immediately. Every pair of eyes on the floor snapped toward me. I nodded stiffly. Understood. Inside the private elevator, I texted Lang Hui furiously. What are you up to now? He replied instantly. Missed you. Me. We parted 2 hours ago. Lang Hui. Too long. Taking a deep breath, I pushed open his office door. Lang Hui sat by the floor-to-ceiling windows reviewing documents, sunlight gilding his profile with an aloof, aristocratic aura. Hearing me enter, he glanced up, eyes narrowing behind gold-rimmed glasses. Lock the door. I turned the lock. The moment I approached, he yanked me into his lap, burying his face in my neck. You smell like someone else's perfume, he muttered darkly. It's from the elevator. I protested, exasperated. Don't like it. His arms tightened. Use my private elevator from now on. I poked his chest. President Lang, you're making my position here difficult. He raised an eyebrow. Difficult. Suddenly pressing the intercom, he ordered. Secretary Zhang, relocate Director Qin's office to this floor immediately. My eyes widened. I slapped his hand away from the button. Lang Hui. He smirked, releasing the intercom. Choose. Move up here. Or his fingers began leisurely unbuttoning my collar. I come down to yours right now. I swatted his hand. Are you insane? We're at work. So. He nipped my collarbone. Is hugging my wife against the law? Just as I began relenting, a knock echoed. Lang Hui frowned impatiently. Who is it? Secretary Zhang's voice filtered through. President Lang. Mr. Zhou from Zhou Group insists on seeing you urgently. Make him wait. Lang Hui snapped. I seized the chance to escape his hold, straightening my blouse. I have clients. President Lang. Do behave. His eyes glinted dangerously. Qin Ching. You're mine tonight. Sticking out my tongue, I fled. Before the door closed, I heard him command Secretary Zhang. Clear Director Qin's lunch schedule. I'm taking her out. At noon. Lin Yen messaged. Heard your hubby caused more chaos this morning. I sent a crying emoji, trying to move my office next to his. Lin Yen. Submit his clinginess to Guinness World Records. Before I could reply, My office door swung open. Lang Hui leaned against the frame, holding takeout bags. Lunch. Wife. I sighed, following him resignedly. At the elevator bay, he suddenly pinned me against the wall for a kiss. Lang Hui. I gasped, glancing around frantically. There are cameras. He grinned like a satisfied cat. Good. Let the whole company know you belong to me. Covering my face, I finally understood a universal truth: even the iciest CEO turns clingy when in love. Especially mine. He's etched clingy into his very DNA. On the day of the company's annual gala, I finally witnessed the true meaning of a tyrant in public but a spoiled child in private. Standing in the corner of the banquet hall in my champagne-colored mermaid gown, I watched Lang Hui effortlessly navigate conversations with business moguls. Dressed in a flawlessly tailored black suit with an immaculate tie, his hawk-sharp eyes behind gold-rimmed glasses sealed a challenging deal between laughs. Director Chin, Mrs. Wang from finance handed me a juice. You're Mr. Lang is exuding an aura of absolute authority today. I offered a faint smile, my gaze unconsciously trailing his commanding figure. As if sensing my attention, Lang Hui suddenly turned. The icy sharpness in his eyes instantly melted, replaced by a smile only I could decipher. My phone vibrated. Lang Hui. Wife. I miss you. I nearly choked on my juice. We hadn't even been apart for 30 minutes. Me. Mr. Lang. Kindly focus on your work. Lang Hui. Don't want to work. Want to hold you. I glared up at him. He pretended to listen to a colleague, but his slender fingers were rapidly tapping on his phone screen. Lang Hui. That dress looks stunning. Want to take you home right now. Heat flooded my cheeks as I shoved my phone into my clutch. His clinginess has only grown stronger with time. Midway through the gala, while chatting with colleagues, I felt warmth behind me. Lang Hui had appeared silently, his arm loosely encircling my waist, maintaining a polite distance publicly. His fingertips secretly traced circles on my hip bone. Director Chin. His voice lowered deliberately into a businesslike tone. Might we step aside for a moment? My colleagues scattered with knowing smiles. I whirled around. Mr. Lang. This is a public event. So. He raised an eyebrow, brushing his fingers suggestively against my wrist as he offered me champagne. Am I forbidden from speaking to my own wife? I hissed. Weren't you just negotiating a project? Finished. He took a sip, his Adam's apple bobbing. Now I only want to discuss you. Before I could retort, I noticed subtle glances directed our way. Lang Hui, infamous for his icy demeanor, was now seeking out the marketing director for a discussion. The implication was obvious. Lang Hui. I ground out. If you keep this up, the whole company will know by tomorrow. He chuckled, leaning close to my ear. They already do. Why do you think no one dares ask you to dinner? I froze. So that explained why male colleagues always kept a respectful distance at team dinners. You threatened them. I whispered, incredulous. Lang Hui stated matter-of-factly. I merely offered friendly reminders. He paused, using their year-end bonuses. Furious, I stomped on his foot. He absorbed it stoically, even tightening his grip on my waist to steady me. To onlookers, it merely looked like the CEO courteously assisting a subordinate. Mr. Lang. Zhou Wan's voice cut in. Oh, interrupting your discussion. I instantly pulled free. Zhou Wan swirled his glass, smirking. The chairman Li has been looking for you everywhere. Lang Hui shot him a frigid glance before reluctantly releasing me. 10 minutes. He murmured. Just for me. Then we go home. As he walked away, Zhou Wan sidled closer. Ms. Chin, I truly admire you. He lowered his voice. Lang Hui, the workaholic, is now speeding through negotiations just to leave early. Know what record he set today? I eyed him warily. What? Closed a $500 million deal in 15 minutes. Zhou Wan laughed. all to get you home sooner. My face flushed crimson. Zhou Luan's expression turned serious. Truly, I've known Lang Hui for over a decade. Never seen him like this. He tapped his chest. He loves you to the bone. I looked towards Lang Hui. Surrounded by well-wishers, he was impatiently deflecting toasts. Yet his eyes kept darting back to me. Our gazes locked across the room. He silently mouthed, "Save me." I couldn't suppress a smile. True to his word, the moment the gala ended, Lang Hui promptly ushered me into his car. The driver had just raised the partition when he urgently kissed me, his breath carrying a faint hint of alcohol. "Don't." I pushed against him. "My makeup will smudge." "It'll come off anyway," he murmured, his fingers already undoing the zipper at my back. "You looked breathtaking tonight. I've been holding back all evening." The car glided smoothly through the night, his kisses leaving me dizzy. Suddenly remembering something, I asked, "Wait, did you threaten my colleague with the year-end bonus again?" Lang Hui paused, defending himself. "That's just efficient resource allocation." I laughed incredulously. "Mr. Lang, abusing your authority like this, I was wrong." He suddenly conceded, burying his face in the crook of my neck, nuzzling like a contrite large dog. His muffled voice, "Honey, don't be mad." My heart instantly softened, and I ruffled his hair. "Don't ever do that again." "Okay," he agreed quickly, then added, "Should I just acquire their company instead?" Lang Hui. My protest was swallowed by his low chuckle as his skillful fingers began undoing my buttons. As the atmosphere intensified, the car jolted to a sudden stop. "What happened?" Lang Hui demanded irritably. The driver's voice came through the intercom. "Apologies, Mr. Lang. There's a cat ahead." I seized the moment to adjust my clothes, but Lang Hui pulled me back firmly. "Ignore it," he murmured, his lips finding my collarbone. "Let's continue." I pushed at him. "We're almost home." "Not close enough." He breathed heavily. "Can't wait." Ultimately, the driver had to circle the villa estate 3 extra times. By the time we exited the car, my lipstick was completely ruined, and my dress hopelessly wrinkled. Lang Hui, however, looked perfectly composed except for his slightly loosened tie. The moment we entered the house, he pressed me against the foyer wall, fingers tangling in my hair. "No interruptions now." Breathless, I asked, "Mr. Lang, where's your self-control? Fed to the dogs the day I met you." He murmured, nipping my earlobe. "Didn't you know?" The next morning, I awoke aching everywhere to find Lang Hui fully dressed, adjusting his tie. Sunlight filtered through the curtains, outlining his perfect profile. "Morning." He leaned down to kiss me. "I asked the kitchen to make your favorite pancakes." I groaned, unwilling to rise. He simply scooped me up, blanket and all. "Want me to feed you?" "No." I was instantly alert. "I'll do it myself." Downstairs, I found an elegant gift box beside breakfast. Inside lay a diamond necklace. "Ruined your dress last night," Lang Hui remarked casually, cutting his pancake. "Compensation." Picking up the necklace, I noticed tiny engraved letters on the pendant's back. L. Q. Lang Hui loves Qin Qing, he explained, the tips of his ears faintly reddening. "I'll gift you one every year for the gala." My eyes stung. This man, seen as ruthless by others, reserved all his gentleness for me. "Come here." I beckoned. He obeyed. Leaning close, I straightened his tie and quickly kissed him. "Consider this returned." Lang Hui's eyes darkened, and he lifted me onto the dining table. "Not enough, Lang Hui. The pancakes will get cold. They'll make more," he countered, biting open the buttons of my pajamas. "Right now, I want something else." Later, a legend spread through the company. Never stare at Director Qin for too long at the gala. Unless you wanted to experience the wrath of the corporate Grim Reaper himself. During the Monday morning board meeting, I slapped Lang Huai's wandering hand away from under the table for the third time. Mr. Lang, I hissed, scribbling on my meeting minutes. Respect boardroom decorum. Unfazed. He finished signing a document, then casually doodled a pitiful puppy face beside my warning. Director Lee across the table coughed abruptly, and I felt my ears burn. As the meeting ended, I hurried towards the elevator. Lang Huai's voice followed. Director Chin, regarding the marketing department's quarterly plan, I require a separate briefing. Several board members exchanged knowing looks. Clenching my teeth, I smiled. Of course, Mr. Lang. The elevator doors closed, and he immediately pinned me to the corner, his lips claiming mine. I struggled to push him away. There are surveillance cameras. I had security turn them off. He righteously unbuttoned my suit jacket. You worked overtime until 10 last night. You owe me. That was proper work. What I'm doing now is proper business too. His kiss landed on my collarbone. The CEO cares about employees' mental health. The elevator dinged as it reached the top floor. I frantically straightened my clothes, but Lang Huai had already reverted to his aloof demeanor. Striding out with long legs, Secretary Zhang approached, pausing noticeably at the sight of my flushed face. President Lang. The Zhou Group. Cancel it. Lang Huai didn't turn back, in not seeing anyone for the next 2 hours. As soon as the office door closed, he instantly reverted to his true self, lifting me onto the desk. I pressed against his chest in warning. Lang Huai. We're at the company. My company. He bit open the top button of my shirt. My wife. I was about to retort when the office door suddenly knocked. Lang Huai frowned impatiently. I said no visitors. President Lang. Secretary Zhang's voice sounded hesitant. Your mother is here. We both froze. Lang Huai quickly buttoned me up and adjusted his own tie. 3 seconds later, an elegant and dignified woman pushed open the door, her sharp gaze sweeping over us. Mom. Lang Huai's voice turned icy instantly. Why didn't you call ahead? Mrs. Lang ignored him, walking straight to me. So you're Qin Qing. I stood up nervously. Hello, Auntie. Lang Huai and I had a secret whirlwind marriage. We hadn't even met each other's parents or had a wedding. She suddenly reached out and pinched my cheek. Finally met the girl who turned my son into a clingy mess. Lang Huai and I both stared in shock. Mrs. Lang pulled a stack of photos from her Hermes bag and slapped them on the desk. At last week's cocktail party. He stared at your back the whole time. She then took out her phone. This is a surveillance screenshot from yesterday when he was waiting for you downstairs from your office. Finally, she leaned in mysteriously. Want to see photos of him in a princess dress as a kid? Lang Huai's face darkened like a pot bottom. Mom. I stifled a laugh until my stomach hurt. Mrs. Lang took my hand and sat me down. Ching ching. You've finally cured this kid's poker face. His father was the same when he pursued meeting all proper on the surface but practically glued to me in private. Mom. Lang Huai's ears turned bright red. You can leave now. Mrs. Lang winked at me. He's shy. Before leaving, she shoved a thick red envelope into my hand. This is the red envelope gift for changing address. After the office quieted down again, Lang Huai buried his face in the crook of my neck, muttering, Don't laugh. I rubbed his burning ears. So President Lang's clinginess is genetic. He bit me in retaliation. It's all because you're too tempting. That afternoon, I went to the break room for coffee and overheard some female colleagues gossiping. Did you hear? Mrs. Lang came to the company today. Seems like she was here specifically to see Director Chin. My cousin works at Zhou Group and says President Lang was super clingy with his mom as a kid, even held her hand to school in elementary. I spat out my coffee. That evening at home, I waved the photos Mrs. Lang gave me at Lang Huai. Who was cooking? President Lang. Care to explain? The photo showed a 5-year-old Lang Huai in a puffy dress, pouting as he hugged a teddy bear. He paused his spatula, then turned to snatch it. I dodged nimbly, running to the couch and holding up the photo. So President Lang had a cross-dressing hobby since childhood. My mom forced me to wear that. He untied his apron and advanced. Delete it. No. I giggled, tucking the photo into my bra. Come and get it if you dare. The next second, the world spun as I was pinned to the couch. Lang Huai's hand slid under my shirt. His voice dangerous. Chin Ching. You asked for this. The photo ended up destroyed. But the cost was him having to wear the maid outfit I impulsively ordered online. Mr. Lang scowled as he struggled into the lace apron. His towering 62 frame making the absurd scene even more comical. I doubled over laughing, snapping several photos for safekeeping. Delete them, he demanded, clutching the apron's hem beside the bed. His ears flushed crimson. I swayed playfully. Mr. Lang looks stunning like this. Should you wear it for me every day? His eyes narrowed before he lunged. Fine, he murmured, deft fingers already untying my pajamas. But it requires equal exchange. The next morning, soreness radiated from my lower back as I arrived at work. The entire office buzzed about Mr. Lang's childhood photos leaked. Dread coiled in my stomach as I opened the internal chat. There was a photoshopped image of Lang Huai in a frilly princess dress, maliciously altered and spreading rapidly. I called Lang Huai immediately. I didn't leak that photo, I know. His voice was terrifyingly calm. IT traced the IP. It was Zhou Luan. Within 30 minutes, Zhou Luan was escorted into the CEO's office, through the glass wall. I watched Lang Huai slam his phone onto the desk, displaying the doctored image. Explain. The words were ice. Zhou Luan smirked. Just a joke. After all. You excellent. Lang Huai's sudden smile drained the color from Zhou Luan's face. I recall you've been courting the Lin family heiress. Zhou Luan stiffened. What are you implying? Lang Huai leisurely opened a drawer, withdrawing a stack of photos. I wonder how Miss Lin would react to these. The images showed Zhou Luan intimately entangled with various women. His face turned ashen. When did you now? Lang Huai slid the photos forward. An exchange. Zhou Luan ultimately deleted every trace of the princess dress photo and signed an agreement promising to never provoke Qing Qin again. After he left, I entered the office. Impressive tactics. Mr. Lang. He pulled me onto his lap. When dealing with rivals, be swift and ruthless. I poked his chest. Who's your rival? Anyone who tries to get close to you. His arms tightened possessively. You're mine. I sighed. This decisive corporate titan transformed into an overprotective guard dog at home. Before I could speak, he produced a velvet box from his pocket. Planned to give this at dinner. Inside lay a pair of diamond-studded wedding bands. Our whirlwind marriage had skipped rings. And later, constant distractions made us forget. I thought he'd never remembered. Tears pricked my eyes as I reached for it. But he snapped the box shut. But first, his other hand held up his phone. Delete the maid outfit photos. Lang Huai. His kiss swallowed my protest. The ring box tumbling onto the carpet. Sunlight streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows, merging our shadows. We eventually held our wedding simple, as ID requested. Despite his initial resistance, 6 months later, Lang Corporation's profits soared by 30. The board credited Director Qin's exceptional leadership. Only I knew the truth. Lang Huai had condensed 3-day negotiations into 3 hours to free up time for me. Call it love-fueled productivity, he boasted. Like a proud golden retriever seeking praise. One rainy midnight, returning from overtime, I found the living room light on. Lang Huai lay curled asleep on the sofa, clutching my pillow. A cold dinner sat on the coffee table. His phone screen glowed, revealing a note. Wife's 17th late night. Miss her. In that moment, I understood this man. Feared for his ruthlessness. Reserved all his tenderness for me. I kissed him awake gently. He pulled me close, murmuring drowsily, "Ching ching. Let's have a baby." I whispered. He jolted, fully alert, eyes shining like captured stars. "Now." I meant planning. Plans faltered. 3 months later, 2 pink lines appeared on the test strip. Lang Hui fainted outright. Upon waking, his first call was to the board. "I'm taking paternity leave." "What paternity leave?" I snatched the phone. He declared with conviction, "Supporting childbirth is also a form of labor." During the pregnancy, Robert Lang's clinginess reached new heights. He learned to make soups, give massages, and even earned a maternal care certification. Every prenatal checkup became a battlefield. He grilled the head obstetrician until sweat poured down the man's face. "Mr. Lang." The senior doctor wiped his brow. "Your wife is perfectly healthy. Then why did she eat half a bowl more rice yesterday?" Robert asked gravely. "Could it be?" I covered his mouth and dragged him out of the examination room. Pregnant women in the hallway watched me enviously. "Your husband is wonderful," they murmured, watching Robert diligently take notes. I suddenly remembered Lin Yin's words. Mr. Lang is making up for all the affection he never showed in his first 28 years. On the day of delivery, Robert nearly tore down the hospital waiting outside the delivery room. When I finally gave birth to our daughter, he rushed in. His first act was to kiss my forehead. His second was to snap a photo of our daughter. His third was to post on social media. "My wife is the best." The picture showed my sweat-dampened hair and exhausted smile, with our daughter's tiny foot barely visible in the corner. From then on, Lang Enterprises instituted an ironclad new rule. Fridays became sacred family day. By the time our little princess turned 3, she had mastered the art of monopolizing both parents' laps. "Daddy's silly," she piped in her tiny voice, pointing at Robert nestled against my shoulder. "So big and still needs mommy to hold him." Unfazed, Robert kissed her cheek. "Because daddy loves mommy the most." Sunlight streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows, warming our entwined figures. "This," I thought, gazing at my CEO husband, me forever clingy teddy bear, is the very shape of happiness.